Welcome to Tea Time with Shayleigh and Amber. I'm Shayleigh Evans, and I'm a life coach for pets and their people. I'm a truth seeker, and it's my passion to empower others and to give animals a voice along the way.
I'm Amber Leidick, and I've been a performance horse trainer focused on behavioral issues for over 20 years. My current passion is creating impactful in-person and online events and collaborating with professionals to be on the leading edge of positive change in the horse industry.
We are two friends invested in theta healing, belief system work, animal communication, and any resources that benefit human-animal partnerships. So turn up the volume and let's dive into the Great Awakening, brought to you by our horses. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. If you're listening in for the first time, we're happy to have you here. We always have something to talk about that is just swirling around in our minds last minute. And the thing that has been swirling around for me lately is this concept of everyone wanting, not everyone, people, some people, wanting others to see their perspective. And I heard something the other day about, and it was like a spiritual teacher, and she was talking about how it's hard for someone else to truly understand your perspective because in order for them to do that, they would have to come into complete alignment from their perspective. And we don't really want that because we are already familiar with our own perspective. We want someone who can see and hear our perspective and then offer their own viewpoint on it. And then we can kind of like converse back and forth. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately and how, especially on social media lately, like I just have not been on it. It's been a blessing in disguise because I have not been scrolling, except for the other night when I sent you like 8 reels. But I have not been scrolling on Facebook at all. Like if I post something, I just post it and that's it because it's just interesting to me how I just find that my feed is like everybody kind of like um taking such strong stances and like having like such strong viewpoints, and then there's like arguments in the comments of people wanting their viewpoint to be like the right one or the clear one or whatever. And for me it's so interesting because I like to think about it, my eye analogies, and I'm like on this whole vision quest still even a year later, where I think about how fun it is for someone to like put on my glasses and be like, "Oh damn, like so blind," like you hand someone. Have you ever done that where like you look into somone's glasses,
Oh,
you just want
yeah.
to like see like what
My
life would
sister.
be like in their eyes? Yeah. And then you look in there and you're like, "Holy shit, like how do you live like this?" But then you wouldn't go on day after day and try to force your body to be able to see clearly through those eyeglasses. Like you'd be like,
Right.
"Oh, these aren't for me. These are for you. Good luck with your life in those. And I'm gonna like do what works for me." And that's just an analogy that I've been playing around with today because I feel like so many people are trying to force themselves to like look through other people's glasses instead of just like sticking with their own perspective. And why is that? Because like obviously there has to be the contrast so that we can learn and we can experience life. But I think it's the amount of time we stay in it, right? And like it's the amount of like time we spend like pushing against it, maybe.
Yeah. I feel like it's such a current topic for me because I feel like it's easy for me to step into like a horse's space and become neutral and just like witness and observe. But like when I'm with other humans, the humaning part kind of it gets me. I can hold space all day long for horses, and when I'm with my human, the human I have chosen to do life with, I find like the perspective thing is big. Like even just yesterday, where I find myself like fighting for people to see me the way that I know I'm perceiving things because I have this identity tied to it, right? Like my identity, who I am, is so important. I mean, to everyone, right? Like you have an identity. These are the beliefs I have about myself. And I feel like the thing that happens when people feel misunderstood, it's like their identity is being challenged. And you're like, if I'm not who I think I am, then who am I? I'm no one,
Mhm.
or I'm a stranger to myself, or like, or you work really hard to protect your identity or who you think you are because your entire world is built around it, your beliefs. And so I feel like even that challenge of someone saying that's not the way I see it can feel like shit, or that's not how I perceive you. I don't think the way you did that means what you think it means, because it means something different to you than the other person, right? So I think that people will hold on to that stuff really tightly because their entire everything that they've ever experienced in their whole life is like totally tied into what their beliefs are about a thing. And so yeah, it's interesting, even being someone who is like so deeply in the freaking work and I teach it, I'll find myself like, no, but I need you to understand why I did the thing. If you don't understand why I did the thing, you won't think I'm a good person, or you won't think, or you won't know how much I care, or you won't, XYZ. But it's really ridiculous because it's like banging your head against a wall because people cannot. They cannot. I mean, I think you can be empathetic and like try and understand, but like to try to force somebody to see it that way and understand it and then go, oh yeah, you're right, that's right, and then see it that way is like almost impossible.
Yeah, because they're just not in that same exact alignment as you are.
Mhm.
And so then it makes me think, are we really wanting to be understood, or is it just like a connection thing? Like it's our way of connecting with others. Can anyone really truly ever understand us? Like the way that we really like want
Yeah,
them to, like the way no one can understand us to the capacity that we understand ourselves. And we could
right.
be the most like we could have the kindest intentions, and if someone like wanted to hate us, they would hate us regardless of how
Yeah,
kind we are, or like someone wanted to be mad at you, or whatever the case may be. Like there's nothing that we could say to convince them otherwise if they've like made their mind up. So it's
right.
fascinating how we can spend so much time as humans trying to like turn that around. So what are we really looking for then when we're like that? Because literally, I don't think anyone can ever truly understand another person, like the true depths of
All
another
the way.
person.
Yeah, I don't either. I think, well, I think it goes back to what we talk about, like if you're a person that has this well, in this current, like if you have like that addiction to the cortisol, to the adrenaline, to the chemical cocktail that you get when you are in those moments, like on social media or with someone, where you're using the social media post or the person that said the thing that you didn't like to reaffirm to you that you are offended or that you are angry, so you can get that this is who I am, this makes me feel. Well, I was just talking to Shayleigh yesterday and I was saying there are the people out there that are swinging from not having boundaries, being a people pleaser. They will swing into this, I'm angry now, I am resentful, and I'm going to use this energy to create a boundary. And it allows people to feel powerful, and it gives them that like voice that they maybe haven't had. But there's like a balance where the pendulum swings back into balance where you can go, oh, I can create a boundary from love and self-respect very calmly versus having to be in this like heightened arousal state. And I feel like, so if people are using you for that, not consciously, but if they're using you to reaffirm these things about their identity and their beliefs about themselves or how the world is, if we're trying to convince that person that that's not true, then I have to think about, what am I reaching for in those moments when I'm like, no, and you need to understand me, because I feel like this is so relevant for me. It feels like connection,
Mhm.
honestly, because what would make me feel better in that moment would be someone just to say, I, what would I need? I need to think about this for a minute. What would
I
I
know
need?
it is interesting because it is like almost like love or connection, or
Mhm.
um but then is it coming from the place of, but
Attachment,
is
needing
that like
something from the
the,
outside. Oh God.
yeah, and is it like the not enoughness, right? Because
Yeah.
it really goes back to that where
Yeah.
it's what I had to
Mhm.
offer just now wasn't enough.
Yeah. Because then I'm using that person to reaffirm to me, I'm not enough. I'm misunderstood. Those are all my beliefs that I'm using to reaffirm that about myself, instead of being like, Well, the one thing that I was listening to this podcast that I always love, and I try to hear it in those moments where it's like your intention can be true for you, but the impact that it had on the person is also true. Like both things can be true. And in that current moment, if you have someone that you give a shit about, not maybe someone on social media randomly that you don't know, that you know you're going to expend all of your life force typing away to say, I can be sorry and apologize for the fact that I hurt you. Um, but also I can understand if I'm doing that, that is what I'm, so how can I do that for myself? How can I tap back into my own enoughness and give that to myself instead of needing someone else to give that to me? I think then maybe that current situation wouldn't come about because those things are only coming up for you if you need the lesson. So if it's coming up for you, you're still not learning the lesson. So I think for me it would be I am enough and I don't need to like convince somebody else that I'm enough. I don't need to convince somebody that I am who I am. If I really know who I am, that I wouldn't be doing that. So there's some part of me that doesn't believe I'm what I'm saying I am. There's like something that doesn't like add up. So that's
I
why I'm
think
like,
some part of it too is like the responsibility for how others feel too,
oh yeah,
where like you're feeling the way you feel, and then you become, because part of it is probably like, well, I don't want you to feel upset about what I said,
mhm,
even though what I said is real for me. And so you become
right.
responsible for how they feel, and you try
Mhm.
to justify why you feel so that
To
they don't feel
fix how, yeah, to fix how they feel.
bad.
Uh,
Yeah. If you care, but it's because we're all just caring beings, okay?
I mean, there are other people out there that are just assholes, right?
Yeah.
And it is what
But
it
they're
is.
probably not listening to this
No,
podcast.
they're definitely not listening to us talk, nor do they care about any, or they're just offended by what we're saying.
Yeah, or they're offended
They've
by what
already
we're
shut it
saying.
off. They've already shut it off.
They're trying to look through my glasses and it's not the right it's not the right prescription. But yeah, it's interesting how we aren't really helping anybody become if we allow them to become dependent on how they feel. Like if we change every single time, it's like the fix it people. My husband's one of those where I'll get like upset or something and I'll be like, I don't like this. And he's like, well, how can I fix it? And I'm like, don't try to fix it because then I'm not going to fix it in myself and I'm going to get a lesson. But it's like, it's so easy to be that. But there's a balance, right? Like if you're in a relationship with someone, there's staying in alignment with yourself, but then if someone's really doing something hurtful, like then you kind of have to negate that too. Relationships are so interesting.
They're so tricky.
I know. Like,
There's so much growth. There's so much growth. I was just talking to a friend of mine who is single right now and just finally gotten to the point where she's like, I love it. I love it here. And I had gotten to that point before I got into the relationship I'm in now, and it's been like over a year. And I think that you do have to find yourself in that place because then when you do get into a relationship, you know that you're not staying there because that is your source of happiness.
true.
And I feel like that can be kind of threatening for people that are in relationship with those type of people sometimes because they feel like, well, if that isn't there on both ends, right? It can feel like, well, you don't need me to be happy, and it feels threatening. Like no, when you get to that place and you are choosing actively to be with the person, not out of I need you. There's that attachment isn't there. It's the choice. I'm choosing to stay connected with you because I love you and I want to do the lessons with you, even if it's hard versus I will desperately do anything to keep you in my life because I'm codependent. And then there's so much pressure for the person on the other side of that. The responsibility kicks in of, okay, if I am your source of happiness, then I need to make sure that I am always showing up for you and not for myself. And then none of that is actually healthy in any way, shape, or form. I can swing into people pleaser, codependent, like pretty, I'm better about it, but I feel myself go there. Like it's my default. When I feel like I've maxed out on my capacity to like stay grounded and stay balanced in whatever conflict I'm having, I'll I just default. Okay, fuck it. Default. I'm crying now. No, look at I suck. And I'm like, fuck, dude. And I witnessed myself do it. And I'm like, God damn it. Haven't we already dealt with this? It's like the work is just never done. Dude, it's rough.
I know it is, but like talk is cheap, right? Like we can understand it, we can conceptualize. That's why we're always going through the lessons, especially because we're teaching it, because literally you can like the idea of it all day long and you can talk about it and it can all feel good, but until you've actually had the experience, the life experience, you can't integrate it because you don't truly know how it feels for you. Otherwise, you're just on the outside looking in, feeling
The
it.
con Yeah, the concept of like a conscious relationship, like is like so fun. Like you read all the memes of these relationship people on Instagram and you're like, oh, I want that. That feels so good. Oh my goodness. And then you're like, all of a sudden you're being held accountable and you're like, oh, oh fuck. All right then. This is not nearly as fun as I thought it was gonna be.
Oh, it's so true. And
Here
especially
I
when you practice like becoming aware. But I
am.
was listening to Abraham Hicks the other day and she was like, negative emotion is just proof that love exists. And I loved that. I was like, that is so good and so um like it's just something to just have in the back of your mind. Like when you're feeling negative emotion, it's that is like being separate from your higher self, your inner being, and it's
Mhm.
just holding yourself away from love. And if we remember that in times of negative emotion, we can be like, oh yeah, I'm holding myself separate of love. Why am I doing that?
Yeah.
It's fucking, I mean, it's easier said than done, but
Yeah, and I just love that. Well, I have you and I have Mandy, who are very much both like my partner. And so I feel like I can get his perspective, at least in a scope of it, from you guys, not from someone who I'm actively like we're both so fucking stubborn. And he said to me yesterday, he was like, one thing I've learned about you in this in this time being together is like you will not back down. He doesn't understand how much I actually back down around. I back down constantly, but there are some things that I am like, this is a non-negotiable, and no, I will not back down. Um, a lot around, I even said something today during my other call where I was like, I've worked very hard to get to a place where I can speak my truth from a very authentic place. And there are some things that I know that I'm like, this is something that I won't allow, I won't negotiate. It's just and I will be okay being alone if that's something you can't handle. Then walking away is fine with me because I will not live in a relationship that looks like XYZ ever again. And I already have done that and I know how it feels and I know how it makes me sick and I just won't do it. And so I think those are the things where he's like, well, there's just, you won't back down. I'm like, yeah, there's things that you won't back down on either. So I think
hmm
we're stuck together and placed together because the only stubbornest people could stick through the shit that we have to talk about and grow through. And if either one of us were less stubborn, we wouldn't still be here. So I think it can work for the benefit of a relationship, depending on if you're supposed to be getting those lessons or not.
yeah. And I think the more you're willing to, as long as like one person doesn't shut down around it, and you keep like having the dialogue, but it makes me think of people with their horses because this is like so relevant to people with their horses too, how people have like non-negotiables and then they don't realize that horses have non-negotiables too, like
Yeah.
people will be like they're not allowed to kick, they're not allowed to buck, they're not allowed to bite, and then the horse is like, well, don't freaking whip me, don't, like they have their non-negotiables too that are going to push them over thresholds.
Mhm.
And I think that we forget that, and you saying like, oh, I'm similar to your partner or whatever, and like we get to have conversations and it allows you to kind of see this different perspective. I think that like every I feel like every horse should get that, where when someone's learning a new language or they're learning like how to be in the relationship or something, that they should be able to hopefully co-regulate with other humans first before they bring it to their horse, because literally because you're distracting me.
Sorry. I muted it and the door wouldn't shut and it was like stuck and I didn't want it to be like I was slamming the door because I don't want it to be like you slammed the door because it's talking. So I was trying to be quiet and I couldn't get it to shut. So
Your face, which that's gonna be like the photo for our
the thumbnail.
yeah. Oh gosh. Anyway, all this to say, that we are doing a webinar at the end of May
Oh
on
yeah.
betrayal. And it's like kind of the concept of how betrayal can be your greatest gift or your greatest teacher or whatever. And it's a little virtue hunting webinar. And all of this stuff is going to be really relevant. The stuff meaning the things that you experience and how they allow you to grow, and how sometimes you need to go through the hard things so that you can come out on the other side more virtuous and with more wisdom and more clarity. Is there anything you want to add to that?
No, I feel like Shayleigh and I both can speak to betrayal on many different levels. We had said that I had said too that I was like, I think Shayleigh came into my life to heal and close my betrayal loop. Um, because I've had friendship betrayal, I've had partner betrayal, I've had work person betrayal. Um, and I feel like the way that people use their horses in those times when betrayal has happened in their life and they go to their horse thinking, well, this is going to be my safe place. And I feel like some people will stay there and replace actual human relationships um, with that. But the like uncomfortable like truth about that is that you're learning that lesson because there's something that you need to learn for yourself. And your horse, even though you think you can escape it by avoiding people, your horse will eventually be called to bring you the same lesson. It won't, obviously, they can't betray you, they can't cheat on you, but there are different ways that you can feel betrayed by them. And if you have betrayal living in you, um, then you will eventually feel like what they have done has betrayed you to bring up your not enoughness, your worthiness, your whatever is living within you that is
Mhm.
coming up because of that. So it's best to just dive in and figure it out, so you
Well,
don't have to
and
live.
because it's living in you already and they can bring it out, that means that on some level it's living within them too a little bit. And that's
Yeah.
how you have like found each other, because you have to be in alignment with that in order to
Mhm.
match up with somebody. And so it's going to be really fun to talk about the horse's perspective too, and what betrayal looks like on like to our horses. And they might not call it betrayal, but there are many times where humans, they can say one thing and do another, and that
Mhm.
is like a form of betrayal. Or they
Yeah.
can lure a horse onto a trailer and take them away from their family. They can um I even had a horse one time that had like a gnarly chiropractic adjustment, and that felt like betrayal to him because it was
Mm.
like quiet, 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 and then crack. And he
Oh yeah.
like felt super betrayed by that. So there are many ways that our animals can feel betrayed too. And those little experiences can kind of lead them to have similar wounds to us. And then they become the protectors. And then you get someone who's upset about betrayal because their horse is biting, and the horse is biting because it's a protector because it experienced betrayal. And it's like this whole loop. So that's what we're going to be talking about on, I think it's May 30th, right? Is it May 30th? It's at the end of May. We will link it in the show notes potentially,
Oh,
and
we will.
we're going to be posting about it. So you'll have plenty more opportunities, but just want to throw that out there because it's going to be fun. It's the first of three webinars that we're doing. We're going to do one on judgment and one on fear. So stay tuned for those two.
Oh, those sound fun. We just we're gonna make
Light
them fun.
topics.
We make everything fun. So even though they sound really heavy, we're gonna make it fun. And then by the end, you're gonna be like, oh, I don't even care that I was betrayed. Now I know what to do about it. It's great, great news. I mean, and actually, I did post about it one time and I asked, like, would you be interested? And people were like hot for it. So I do feel like it's relevant for so many people. How can you have gone through life at any way, shape, or form and not experienced some sort of betrayal? At least like the felt sense of it in your body. Like we can name and label things what they are, but like that feeling in your body when you're like, oh my
Mhm.
God, I can't believe that just
Yeah. Hasn't everyone gone through middle
yeah.
school with
Yeah.
friends,
God, God. Yeah, you're carrying those middle school wounds with you. God, horrible.
I've been betrayed by math. There's
Dude, teacher trauma is so for real
your teacher
for
trauma is
almost
real. I've been
every
betrayed by
person.
food just betraying my body.
I thought that I you tasted so good to me. And then later I had the pain, like betrayed. Yeah, anything can betray you. Don't worry. We know you have it.
We
So
know you have it, so let's talk about it. Let's just bring it out in the open. All right. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.